Hello friends, welcome to my ASRO study channel. Today we are going to discuss about our new topic, that is measurements error. So let's start. No matter how hard we try, it isn't possible to make a measurement with absolute accuracy. Our tools lack perfect calibrations and perfect resolutions, and the nature of the universe adds into its own amount of uncertainty. This means that to be a measurement should have an error attached. The theory of observational error was worked out by the German mathematician Carl Friedrich Gauss in the 18th century. At the simplest level, error can be assessed just by considering the accuracy of our tools. If we measure the width of a table with a tape measure, we might get the result 89 mm. If the smallest division on the tape measure is 1 mm, then the probable or standard error in your measurement is 0.05 mm. So we would code the measurement as 89 plus minus 0.5 mm. Error can also come from having to calculate value based on known values that already have errors. For example, we don't actually know the temperature of the center of the sun, but derive it using theoretical calculation that takes into account the mass, radius, and surface temperature of the sun. It also comes from having to deal with the various overtime. That wind speeds in the evening may average 10 meter per hour, but also have an error due to lulls and gusts. The error is always expressed the same way, using a plus minus symbol and the values, or value if the error is asymmetric of the error. We can see some examples here. That is 78.65 plus minus 0.02 Kelvin implies a range of 78.67 to 78.63 Kelvin. Okay. Now the other one is 33 plus minus 8 ms, which implies a range of 41 to 25 mm. Astronomers gather light from the distant universe and they are often working at the limit of detection. We can see that this means in terms of standard error. Suppose that we measure the magnetic field of a distant star to be a 90 plus minus 100 Gauss. You can see that the range of the magnetic field within the standard error reaches 0. In other words, there is a 1/3 chance that the star has no magnetic fields at all. We might take more measurement or use a more accurate technique to get a new value of 84 plus minus 41 Gauss. The new measurement is slightly more than 2 times the standard error, or 2 sigma, above 0. There is still a nearly 5% chance that the star has no magnetic field. Scientists often demand a measurement of a 3 or 4 times the standard error, that is 3 sigma or 4 sigma, above 0 before they are confident that they have detected something. Scientists can use a similar logic to test a theory. Suppose in the previous example that we have a theory that predicts that a certain type of star will have a magnetic field of 200 Gauss. Our first measurement, 90 plus minus 100 Gauss, is low, but it is too crude to test the theory. The reason is that the measurement disagree with the theoretical prediction by only 200 minus 90, which is equal to 110 Gauss, or 1.1 times the standard error. That is, we can also say as 1.1 sigma. Okay, so there is a nearly 1/3 chance that the true magnetic field actually agree with the theory. The second measurement is much more accurate, 84 plus minus 41 Gauss. Now we disagree with the theoretical prediction by 200 minus 84, which is equal to 116 Gauss, or 116 divided by 41, which equals to 2.9 times the standard error, that is 2.9 sigma. In other words, there is a less than 1% chance that the measurement agrees with this theory. This is what scientists mean when they talk about fitting a model and testing a hypothesis. Scientists often use this type of argument to test theory and advance to a better understanding of nature. Now the next one is, most discussion of error assume that their nature is random. A random error is equally likely to displace a measurement to the high or to the low side of the true value. If errors are random, we can be confident that more measurement will reduce the standard error and allow us to home in on the true value of a quantity. Unfortunately, scientists have encountered a more difficult problem: systematic error. A systematic error is any kind of error that does not reduce in size when more measurements are made. Let's have some example here. To see some example of systematic error, let us imagine measuring the width of a table with a tape measure. Suppose that the machine that printed the scale on the tape measure had been programmed wrong, so that the divisions were all slightly too big. You would then measure all distances to be slightly smaller than they really are. Or we know that metal expands when it is hot. So if the tape measure had been calibrated when it was still hot, you would measure all distances to be slightly larger than they really are because the tape measure had shrunk since its manufacture. Or you might systematically misread the scale. None of these problems would be revealed by repeated measurement. The only way scientists can guard against systematic error is by measuring a quantity using two or more different techniques. The discussion of measurement error is not a minor side. The accurate treatment of error or uncertainty is at the heart of the scientific method. Most scientists spend as much time trying to understand the error in a measurement as they did making the measurement in the first place. One final caution: most calculators do their calculation with a large number of significant figures, as many as 16, and can be set to show an arbitrary number of digits following the decimal points. But the number you get out of a calculator are only as accurate as the number you put in. So if your calculation involves quantity that are only accurate to two significant figures, you should only read off your answer to a precision of a two significant figures.